Skinwalker Ranch, Electromagnetic Anomalies, Science versus Mystery. For 30 years, instruments at Skinwalker Ranch have recorded electromagnetic readings that defy conventional scientific explanation. Located in the Uinta Basin of northeastern Utah, a property known as Skinwalker Ranch has become one of the most intensively studied locations for anomalous phenomena in North America. Unlike many paranormal investigation sites where evidence rests primarily on witness testimony, this remote cattle ranch has produced something far more concrete. Nearly 3 decades of instrumental data documenting electromagnetic anomalies that multiple independent scientific teams cannot explain through conventional means. The scientific documentation begins in 1996 when the National Institute for Discovery Science establishes a dedicated research presence on the property. NIDS deploys investigators with specialized instrumentation backgrounds, individuals trained in electromagnetic measurement protocols and scientific methodology. Their mission is not to prove or disprove the paranormal, but to document what actually occurs on this property using the most rigorous scientific methods available. What those instruments record in the years that follow creates a puzzle that persists to the present day. The electromagnetic anomalies at Skinwalker Ranch are not subtle fluctuations that require statistical analysis to detect. They are dramatic, localized events that affect electronic equipment, disable communication systems, and register on multiple independent instruments simultaneously. Electromagnetic field meters document sudden spikes in specific locations. Compasses behave erratically, their needles swinging away from magnetic north as though the local magnetic field itself has been disrupted. Radiation detectors register readings above normal background levels in zones where no geological or industrial source can be identified. The NIDS team documents these anomalies consistently throughout their operational period from 1996 to 2004. They establish baseline measurements across the property, identifying normal electromagnetic backgrounds against which anomalous readings can be compared. What emerges from this baseline work is a critical pattern. The anomalies are not randomly distributed across the ranch property. They concentrate in specific geographic areas. The mesa that rises on the ranch property becomes one focal point for electromagnetic anomalies. Field zones where cattle have experienced unexplained events show elevated electromagnetic activity. The geographic clustering suggests these are localized phenomena rather than widespread environmental interference from power lines, radio transmitters, or other conventional sources. The investigators map these zones, creating a geographic profile of electromagnetic irregularity that subsequent research teams will later confirm. When Robert Bigelow's subsequent investigation teams continue work on the property after the formal closure of NIDS, they document electromagnetic anomalies in the same geographic areas the original NIDS team identified. Different investigators, using different instrumentation systems at different times, record anomalous readings in identical locations. This independent replication is one of the most significant aspects of the electromagnetic documentation. In scientific research, replication is the gold standard. When independent teams using different methods reach the same conclusions, the phenomenon under study gains credibility. The current phase of investigation at Skinwalker Ranch brings even more sophisticated instrumentation to bear on the electromagnetic mystery. Dr. Travis Taylor, an astrophysicist and optical scientist with experience in aerospace sensor systems, oversees an expanded instrumentation network that monitors the property continuously. Multiple electromagnetic field meters, radiation dosimeters, infrared cameras, and spectrum analyzers create overlapping coverage across the ranch's most active zones. This expanded instrumentation network documents electromagnetic events that correlate with other anomalous phenomena. When infrared cameras capture thermal anomalies, electromagnetic field meters simultaneously register spikes. When visual observers report unusual aerial phenomena, spectrum analyzers detect electromagnetic signatures in frequency ranges associated with the observations. The correlation between electromagnetic anomalies and other documented events suggests these electromagnetic disturbances are not isolated measurement errors, but components of larger, more complex phenomena. The most alarming electromagnetic anomalies documented during the current investigation period involve radiation exposure. Radiation dosimeters worn by investigators register elevated readings in specific ranch areas. These readings exceed acceptable exposure levels, triggering medical protocols that require investigators to undergo evaluation for radiation exposure. Dr. Taylor and other team members document these incidents carefully, collecting dosimeter data that provides objective measurement of radiation levels that should not exist in these locations. The source of these radiation anomalies remains unidentified. Geological surveys reveal no uranium deposits or other naturally radioactive materials in the areas where elevated readings occur. No industrial facilities exist in the vicinity that might produce radioactive contamination. The radiation appears and disappears without apparent cause, localized to specific zones that investigators have learned to approach with caution. Electronic equipment failures provide another consistent pattern in the electromagnetic anomaly documentation. Communications systems that function normally elsewhere on the ranch cease operating in specific areas. Radio transmissions become garbled or blocked entirely. GPS systems lose satellite lock. Cameras experience battery drains that cannot be attributed to cold weather or equipment malfunction. When investigators move equipment away from these zones, normal function returns. These equipment failures create practical dangers for investigation teams. Loss of radio communication means investigators cannot call for assistance if they encounter problems. GPS failures make navigation difficult, particularly in remote areas of the property during night investigations. The electromagnetic anomalies, whatever their source, create hazardous conditions that investigation teams must account for in their safety protocols. The consistency of electromagnetic documentation across nearly 30 years of monitoring represents one of the most significant aspects of the Skinwalker Ranch investigation. Witness testimony can be questioned, misidentification is always possible with visual observations, but instruments provide objective data. Electromagnetic field meters do not misidentify power lines as paranormal phenomena. Radiation dosimeters do not fabricate exposure readings. Compasses do not imagine magnetic field disturbances. The instrumental nature of this evidence places the Skinwalker Ranch electromagnetic anomalies in a different category from many paranormal claims. This is not a case of witnesses reporting strange lights that might be aircraft or satellites. This is not testimony about unusual sounds that might have conventional explanations. This is measurement data collected by scientific instruments, documented by trained investigators, replicated across multiple independent research teams spanning 3 decades. The scientific community struggles with this evidence precisely because it is so well documented. If the electromagnetic anomalies were random, occasional, or documented by a single team using questionable methods, dismissal would be straightforward. But the consistency, the geographic replication, the correlation with other phenomena, and the involvement of credentialed scientists using standard instrumentation methods make conventional dismissal problematic. Various hypotheses attempt to explain the electromagnetic anomalies through conventional means. Geologic structures might create localized magnetic field variations. Underground water flows or mineral deposits could theoretically produce electromagnetic effects. Atmospheric phenomena might generate transient electromagnetic fields. But none of these hypotheses adequately account for the specific patterns documented at Skinwalker Ranch. The geographic concentration in areas correlated with other anomalous events, the sudden onset and cessation of anomalies, the correlation with visual and infrared phenomena, and the radiation readings that have no identified source. The electromagnetic anomaly documentation continues to expand as investigation methods become more sophisticated. The current research team deploys sensor networks that provide continuous monitoring rather than periodic measurements. Data logging systems capture electromagnetic readings around the clock, creating comprehensive records that can be analyzed for patterns across time. Multiple instrument types provide redundancy, ensuring that anomalous readings are not artifacts of individual equipment malfunction. This accumulation of instrumental data creates an evidence record that cannot be easily dismissed or explained away. The electromagnetic anomalies at Skinwalker Ranch represent a documented physical phenomenon that has persisted across multiple investigation periods, multiple research teams, and nearly 3 decades of scientific scrutiny. Whether these anomalies represent unknown natural phenomena, technological interference from unidentified sources, or something beyond current scientific understanding remains an open question. What is not in question is that the anomalies exist. The instruments have recorded them, the data has been logged, and the patterns have been documented with the kind of rigor that scientific methodology demands. Skinwalker Ranch presents researchers with a genuine mystery, a location where the electromagnetic environment behaves in ways that current scientific models cannot adequately explain. The investigation continues, the instruments continue monitoring, and the electromagnetic anomalies continue occurring in the same geographic zones where they were first documented nearly 30 years ago. Whatever their source, these phenomena represent one of the most scientifically credible threads in the complex tapestry of anomalous events that have made Skinwalker Ranch one of the most studied paranormal research sites in the world. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.